I'm Brian Marciano, and this is a sports review and preview. And I'm joined by a local coaching legend, Steve Coccimiglio. How you doing, Steve?
Brian, good to see you.
Exactly. No, it's a real treat. And I hadn't done this in a long time. I was thinking about doing it, and I saw Steve at Giant Chef Burger, and so I was having a nice exact. And so I think that's a good thing. I mean, I'm in there probably about once a month, and that's probably too much. But I meant.
And you can order healthy there, and they're good people. Give them a plug. But,
yeah,
people who know me wouldn't be surprised that you saw me.
Right. No, I said yeah. So I said yeah, I'm doing this. I said I should contact you. You said yes, and a few emails, and we're here. So
yes.
So no, they can see we're at Diablo Valley College. Steve's been here now 25 years. Well, we'll get to that. I'm trying to think. Maybe I remember you from De La Salle, but it all started at Clayton Valley. I mean, you're a schoolboy legend many years ago. I mean.
Well, I would say the legend was probably my brother Ron.
Right.
Ron was a phenomenal athlete. 10 varsity letters, 3 in football, 3 in baseball, 2 in track, 2 in basketball. I was older than Ron by 15 months.
Okay.
And I just focused on basketball.
Right.
So, I don't think I was much of a legend, but, I was fortunate. I went away to school at the University of Hawaii-Hilo, which was played NAIA basketball at the time. Played a couple of years, and then my junior year, my playing career ended, and I got into coaching when I was 20 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
And in fact, I came back to Clayton Valley in 1979 for my high school coach, Bruce Iverson, and he gave me a chance to coach the freshmen. And then the next year, I got a chance to coach the JVs, and then really fortunate enough in 1981. That spring of '81, I got hired at De La Salle at age 24.
Yeah.
They must have been kind of crazy hiring a 24-year-old, but it worked out good, and that's where we met because you were one of my students.
Yeah, exactly.
There at De La Salle.
That 1985.
Yes.
No, and also the thing I think, they hired young there at De La Salle. They had a young basketball coach, but there also was a young football coach too.
And I think that's looking back, that's probably part of the reason why they gave me a chance at 24. Chuck Lafferty was the athletic director. Jerome Gallegos was the principal. Brother Jerome. And Bob was obviously a great coach starting out, and maybe they figured, hey, we'll take a chance on another guy.
Yeah, but Bob Lattis, I think they found him like the juvenile hall or something.
He was working. I know Bob, background in coaching, wanted to coach, and of course, just recently this last week, going into the Bay Area Hall of Fame, and what a tremendous story about Bob and Terry Etzen and their whole football program. And I was, had a first-hand, view of the place for those 10 years I worked there.
Right.
And I'm really happy for them.
Right. No, we'll get to DVC and De La Salle, but there's a story. See, when I met you in 1985, you were talking about UNLV coming over to, it's a famous story, coming over to, they're playing, I think they had a game with Hawaii on Oahu, but they stopped over on Hilo. Tell us about that game, because this was, Eddie Owens and the guy, Reggie Theus,
and Lloyd Batts and Eddie Owens. It was unbelievable. Sam Smith. It was we were in my freshman year. Hawaii-Hilo was just a mix of their schedule. They played junior colleges, but they also played that year UNLV. UNLV probably just needed an extra game coming over from Honolulu, and they were number 1 in the country at the time. USF and Bill Cartwright. And Tark must have been worried about the referees, because they were up like 85-54 at half, and the final score.
Yeah, actually, I wrote it down. Yeah.
162.
Yep.
To 111. And I won't forget that. I had 7 points in the game, and but it was an amazing team that UNLV had. We had a guy on our team, a local guy named Alan Tanabe, who had 32 points that game.
Right.
And he still was a legend on the Big Island. And but no, that was a great experience. It was pretty cool.
No, because also then I remember that, because you score 111 and you end up losing by 53.
I mean, and that was without the 3-point line and the shot clock.
Well, that's why they were the Rebels, and that's when they became the Running Rebels.
Oh yeah, Tark was amazing.
And we'll get to actually talk about that, because his background was community college.
Yeah, now that I've been completed 24 years coaching here at the community college level, there's a great history to California. I've learned a lot about it. In fact, I'm currently the chairman of our Hall of Fame. But the history goes back with Danny Crum, who went on to be an assistant with John Wooden at UCLA. But
2 national champions at Louisville.
At Louisville, you had Lute Olson, Jerry Tarkanian, And then there were many, many coaches from California men's community college
Right.
basketball that went on. And locally, you look at Bob Thomason.
Right.
You can look at Bob Williams, who's at UC Santa Barbara. There's just many of them.
Right.
And I think overall, the current coaches that we have, there's some great coaches in California.
Sure.
Southern California, good young coaches, and then even up here in Fresno City with Ed Maddox, over at San Francisco City with Justin LeBeau. Our state champion this year was Craig McMillan at Santa Rosa in our league. Craig McMillan played with Steve Kerr and Tom Tolbert and those guys in Arizona.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's a rich basketball tradition in California community colleges.
Yeah, I think I know the story. He played I think it was like Cloverdale or something. Okay. No, but this was like 30 years ago. It was him. And I think there was a coach down at Monte Vista.
Craig Bergman.
See, exactly. So
they were teammates.
It was a small city, but everyone was good basketball players at the right time, and somehow they beat Morningside High School in the state title game.
Well, Craig was a great player.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
His dad was the coach.
Exactly.
Coach McMillan, his dad. So Craig is a first-class coach, and he's obviously a great player.
Right. And then I was going to mention you must be 25 years. Are you the dean of or the most tenured coach? Or
I think there's a couple other coaches. Percy Carr at San Jose City has been going for a long time. I think Percy's going into year 38 or 39. He has over 800 wins.
Sure.
Bill Russell's been down at Merced for I think a couple years longer than me. Jerry Hernandez down at Irvine Valley is probably in his 22, 23 range.
Right. We joke. I mean, I guess you could say there's one you could hang up, but every band, there was really no history at DVC until you got here. I mean.
Well, I think it was baseball had traditions.
Well, true.
Aquatics. They won the Golden Gate Conference in 1962.
Right.
And then there was a little bit of a gap there.
Right. Was 62 to 90 or?
We won the Golden Gate Conference in the 92-93 season.
Sure. Okay.
That was my third year here.
Right. Okay.
But there was some really good players. Al Lewis, who played at St. Mary's, Mike Vontour.
Right.
De La Salle.
Yeah.
Went to St. Mary's.
You coached him at De La Salle.
Coached him at De La Salle.
St. Mary's.
There was a lot of players, but maybe the teams.
Right.
The Golden Gate Conference when. Brad Dugan was at San Francisco City, and Rich Patello at Chabot, and Bob Burton at West Valley. You've got Percy Carr at San Jose. It was a really good league, and I think that was a tough one, tough nut to crack.
Yeah, I just thought of something. You mentioned the name Dugan. I want to get to that. But no, I remember as a kid, you mentioned that it was baseball. It was like 1977. It was like Willie McGee and Broderick Perkins.
Yeah.
I mean, coming out, I think Willie McGee from like Harry L's High School in Richmond, state champions in baseball.
Yeah,
exactly.
Local guys like Eric Schneider and Mike Donnelly, and there was and the coach was Ernie Sicacci. So, I mean, that was an exciting baseball program we had winning the state championship.
Exactly. And then you mentioned Brad Dugan. People don't remember. It was 1987. I think the guy's name was Dean Garrett. Played at City College. And then did he know Bob Knight? How did Bob Knight know about?
I think Bob Knight was friends with Brad Dugan, and of course Dean Garrett. Just was a late bloomer.
Right.
And got better, and of course played on that great team at Indiana.
Yeah,
That won the national championship.
Steve Alford. Yeah, Steve Alford, Keith Smart. Yeah, they beat Ronnie Cycli and Syracuse, and Derek Coleman. I mean, exactly.
That's right.
That's when Jim Boeheim had hair.
Yeah.
We all did. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah, okay. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm all over the place, but. Your St. Mary's connection. See, that's also it goes back to Hawaii-Hilo. We mentioned that high-scoring game. That became in vogue when you were, actually, let's talk, I guess it would be Lynn Nance and even the coach before that at St. Mary's.
Well, Bill Oates was the coach at St. Mary's College previous, right before Lynn Nance.
Right.
And when I got out of college, I kind of went over and got to know Coach Oates, and I think that kind of maybe helped me. But I'm sure it did help me get the De La Salle job because of the connections with the Christian brothers, and he spoke up for me. But I was there at De La Salle for the 5 years, from 81 to 86, and had some really good players that I was able to coach.
Right.
Jason Ricks and
Ken
John Berry, Ken Schiermeyer, Mike Vontour we mentioned. And then in 86, I wanted to coach at the college level.
Sure.
And I was able to hook on with Lynn Nance.
Right.
Yeah, that was really the most important coaching decision that I really made, because even to this day, Coach Nance is my mentor.
Sure.
I stay in touch with him. I learned so much from him.
Yeah.
So much about coaching, offense,
Yeah,
defense,
yeah.
dealing with people.
Right.
But Coach Nance remains a very strong person in my life.
Right, and I just remember this because I was like in high school, and it was a big deal. I don't know, we always just paid attention to St. Mary's. But then I think Lynn Nance came like Iowa State or something. It was a good hire. And,
no doubt. His background was pretty diverse. He played for Tex Winter at the University of Washington.
See, wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
And then his coaching career took him to Iowa State. He was also an assistant with Joe B. Hall at Kentucky.
That's right.
And helped recruit that team in 1978 to win the national championship.
Goose Givens. Yeah, okay.
Kyle Macy and those guys.
Yeah.
And then he was an assistant at Fresno State with Boyd Grant, and then came to St. Mary's. But did a great job. I was a 3-year turnaround from a team that was not super competitive to going to the NCAA tournament. And in the 88-89 season, we were ranked as high as 20th or 21st in the country.
Exactly. That's what I remember, those games at McCune Pavilion against Loyola Marymount. I meant the St. Mary's, some people I remember like Dan Curry at center, the point guard from Crenshaw, David Carter,
who's now head coach at University of Nevada.
Wow. Okay, and then Robert Haugen.
Robert was a great player, and we mentioned Al Lewis. You can take a look at, on that team, David Carter, Al Lewis in the backcourt, Eric Newman, a player from
Reardon. Also, did he take a JC route as well?
He went through Southern Idaho.
Exactly.
But then you look at Terry Burns out of Berkeley High, and James Daly.
Yeah.
And it was really quite a group, that team.
He didn't play a lot, but he was a legend at Ignacio, a young Eric Bamberger.
Well, that was his freshman year.
Yeah, exactly,
Right out of high school, and became a part of that team, and played, 8-10 minutes a game.
Right, exactly. No, that's another thing. I remember it must have been, it was 89, it must have been 1988. The Coliseum, they lost, but they made it all the way to the state finals against Mighty Mater Dei or something like that.
Sure, I'm not sure who they played, but they had the Walsh.
Oh, the football player.
And he went on to play at Stanford, played in the NFL.
Yeah, Chris Walsh, I think was his name, Again, it was one of those once-in-a-lifetime things there at Ignacio Valley, putting it all together and going all the way to the state finals. I'm trying to think, I really, heck, it's hard to believe it's been 25 years, but that 89 team, I remember getting out of school and coming home like at 2 o'clock to watch your game against Clemson. It was like in Boise, Idaho, or something.
Yeah, it was.
And it wasn't a blue, but it was a crazy court for Bronco or something.
No. Well, Boise State there, they got a nice arena. But you mentioned, earlier we mentioned UNLV.
Right.
Going back, but I think the other time it was Loyola Marymount.
Let's talk about
Paul
that.
Westhead.
Yeah.
With Hank Gathers.
Bo Kimball. Jeff Fryer.
And those guys.
Yeah.
And they were an amazing team to play against. And it was really a battle in that conference because we were leading the country in defense and points allowed, less points allowed.
Yeah.
They were leading the country in offense, points scored.
Right.
So it became a pretty good, conflicting styles and personalities of coaches and the whole deal.
Right. No, you beat them in 1989. I remember that. That was a sold-out game, 3,500 there at McCune Pavilion. Paul Westhead, after getting fired with the Lakers, I think he was with the Bulls, and he was looking for a place to resurrect his career, and it was Loyola Marymount, because that was, I think, Gathers and Kimball had come from like Philadelphia to like USC or something.
They transferred after 1 year at USC and came over to Loyola Marymount.
You know what, it was Stan Morrison, I think that's what it was. It was Stan Morrison was fired, and they didn't like George Raveling. And so then they became available, and Paul Westhead scooped them up. And there was, I think, a guy, Tom Lewis or something, that ended up a white guy that ended up at Pepperdine. It was all part of that. But no, that was a special time. I guess at the time it was the WCAC, and their thing. I'm all over the place. But I also remember at St. Mary's. You guys always probably practiced at McCune Pavilion at Madigan Gym. I mean, I talked to Dick Callahan about the history there, and I used to, this is crazy, Steve, I don't know what the point of this story is. I'd be 15, 16, we'd watch your games, and then we would sneak into Madigan Gym. But the problem was we were habitual. We would sneak in, they would kick us out, and then we'd come back. And they really, we probably should have been looking for girls or something, but no, but there were no girls that were just playing basketball. I don't know who that guy was. He actually cussed us out in front of his son's probably like 30 years old by now, but I always thought that we were so stupid. the lights would be on, we'd be playing, they'd hear us, they kick us out, we'd come back, but well, that was a special time.
Well, it's called an attractive nuisance.
That's
They,
yeah.
they left the lights on and
Yeah.
they left the doors open.
Oh, exactly.
So of course you're going to come in and play basketball.
Yeah, it was.
But there's a lot of history to
Yeah,
St. Mary's.
exactly.
And I mean, from Leroy Doss going all the way back to Walker, and there's so many Masheri.
Yeah.
And I think right now, Randy Bennett
Yes.
has done a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Just resurrecting the pride.
Yeah.
He's done a great job coaching players from California
You're
and
right.
junior college.
Yeah.
But obviously
Right.
the Australian
Sure,
connection.
exactly.
Seeing Patty Mills,
Right.
and Dellavedova, and
Yeah.
Kickert.
Right.
But Randy is an excellent
Right.
coach, and he's got it going really well. Over
Exactly. When Tony Parker needs a break, there's Patty Mills, filling it up for the Spurs.
there.
I mean,
He's come, and you look at Popovich. He does a great job developing role players to where they step up big.
yeah.
And I've always had tremendous respect for how he's a coach's coach, Greg Popovich, and I'm always I'm pulling for him this year.
Right. Yeah. No, I would too. I mean, I have no love for Oklahoma City or the LA Clippers, and yeah. On the other, me too. No, I'm trying to think. I got off track a little bit there, but yeah, even you mentioned Madigan Gym. There's also the UNLV story where it probably was the year after they played you. They came, the same team came into St. Mary's,
Sure.
and I think they lost like in triple overtime there. And Tarkanian said he would never play in that small gym again, and he never did. I mean, and so no, maybe the De La Salle. That's where I met you. But it was that 1986 team where you guys put it all together, because people know De La Salle now. I mean, talk about this. This is an obscure reference, but some old timers remember this, the Gridley tournament. Talk about that, because
We started going up there. I had gone there as a player in high school, and I thought it was just really a neat tournament. They had turned it into a tournament in December, but the 7 schools they would invite, everybody in the community would house a couple of the players.
Right.
So the whole community would pitch in. They would house a couple of players for the Friday, Saturday night, and make sure they got to the games. And the coaches stayed downtown in some of the hotels that were
Right.
set up for right along 99 for the duck hunters. But,
Yeah.
it was really a class tournament, and it had a lot of tradition. And we had some great games up there. I know we went up there in 1984 when I had Scooter Berry was a senior and Bob Wright, and we played the championship game against Vallejo High School. And
Right.
I had Damon Vance and Gerald Jones, who
Okay.
were big-time players. And then we went up there. I think we went up there 3 consecutive
Right.
years and won.
Right.
And had a great run there. And then, but really the Gridley tournament it's still going. and
Right.
It's still a great tradition.
Exactly. No, I just remember because I was young. I didn't quite understand. You'd be teaching health, and you'd be talking. You were teaching health, but you were talking about this Gridley tournament for like 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
rightfully so. And I didn't quite understand what it was. Then you were gone for a week. I was like, "What's going on here?" And now, yeah, you're up at Gridley. Probably not having the time of your life, but that was not the high point. But you look forward to Gridley, I think.
No, it was great. That team won the Catholic Athletic League, a regular season, which was the only time I think at the time De La Salle had won the Catholic Athletic League, which was a great league.
Right.
I mean, if you
Moreau.
look at all the teams in there, and you take a look with even St. Patrick's
Right.
with Dan Dion,
Right.
and then you had Salesian,
Right.
and then you had St. Mary's of Berkeley,
Sure.
and then you had De La Salle. But over on the other side, you had Moreau, you had O'Dowd,
Right.
you had St. Elizabeth with Bob Howard,
St. Joe.
St. Joseph
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Frank Laporte, and then
Right.
of course the great
Right.
Mike Phelps was at O'Dowd.
Right.
So being a young coach, and from age 24 to 29, the 5 years that I was there,
Right.
I was definitely going against some really outstanding high school programs
Right.
and coaches, and something I really treasured.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
that last year, the 85-86
That
season,
was the
when
last.
they broke up the
Yeah.
CAL.
Yeah.
And so it was a great league. And,
Right.
and the last, that team in that 85-86, the last win that we had that year was, they call it the NorCal Finals, or they used to call it the TOC, but
Sure.
we beat a really good Skyline team.
Right, right.
With, Gary Payton,
Young Gary Payton.
Greg
sure.
Foster,
Right.
Brent Merritt were on
Right.
that team, and of course, John Barry was a junior that year. He had a great game, but so did a lot of those guys. on the
Right.
team.
And also that was, the people forget about the CAL, and also the history. People now, like De La Salle play, not quite on the moon, but they play games like in Palm Springs, probably Hawaii. It all started there in Gridley, and also the history. I forget when the school started, like 65 or 69. There really wasn't much success in basketball till you got there. Is that correct? I mean.
Well, yeah, I mean, the league was tough.
Well, that's why. I mean,
yeah.
But
no, and I think that the timing was right in terms of, a lot of things. You got to have players, and,
yeah.
we had some good players.
Right, exactly. No, yeah. If you have a mediocre team in the CAL,
yeah.
you're in trouble. I mean,
you could be, yeah. It doesn't coaching. You got to have players.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. Oh, that's also when I first came to saw you. We set this up about a month ago. You had a good line. You're teaching the PE class. And I said, Steve, did you ever find a player in here? And or people think they can play, and then you have two things you say. There's,
everybody in my PE classes, I want them to have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm promoting
yeah,
basketball
right.
in this activity class, but all those guys want to be on the team.
They think they can. They're good. They're good PE play. I mean, they're good. But yeah, so yeah.
Anyhow, guys would ask me all the time, "Hey, winter tryouts?" I go, "You already had them." And they go, "What are you talking about?" I go, "No, I saw you play. You didn't make it."
Right. Right.
But, I don't want to be a wise guy.
No. Yeah.
I just think that it's something that at our level you have to recruit.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you really, and there's a pretty competitive, recruiting going on for junior college players.
Exactly, and right here, this must help. I mean, this isn't luxurious, but this is nice. I mean, this is a nice team room we're in.
We've been very fortunate. We had the space, and then we were able to raise money, and the lockers, cabinet lockers were put in by a local cabinet maker that's really good, and just the space because the school doesn't have dorms.
Right.
So a lot of the guys are commuting.
Sure.
It's a place where they can hang out and socialize.
Exactly. No, we'll get to also how you guys advanced. But I told my sister the other one, you had like somebody said, "Hey, coach, I think I can play for you," and you said, "What is it? Go over to LMC, go over to Contra Costa, get on their team, come back and beat me. Then you can play."
Then I'll shake your hand. It's the hardest thing because, to be honest with you, Brian, the hardest thing that I have to do is when I go through, I give open tryouts.
Right.
And then when you have to tell guys that they're not good enough,
right.
it's not.
No.
It's not fun.
But
it's hard to do, and it's really hard.
Right.
Because for me, I know how badly I wanted to play when I was young, and I know how badly these guys want to play.
Sure.
So it's, kind of snuffing out a dream is not really something I like doing.
No, but the joke I was telling, these are the guys who are playing the PE class, not the guys who are coming from varsity teams wanting to. But that is the story. I mean, you've had pretty much not every, but most of the guys that play for you end up playing for 2 more years. I mean,
I think so. I think
there's a list.
It's be around 85, 90%.
I mean, that's got to be a good selling point. I mean,
no doubt. I mean, look. First of all, I have a really good school to sell.
Yeah.
Diablo Valley College is one of the top junior colleges, community colleges in the country.
Yeah, not just the state.
And
okay.
And in the state, I believe there's around 114, 116 community colleges or extensions, and 94 of them play men's basketball. And so I think that we have done a good job with our program stressing, academic achievement. Once the opportunity has been presented to these guys they have to become their own advocates for their own education.
Yeah.
And they want to play basketball. And basketball is a lot of times the motivation for them going to school.
Right.
But there's so many lessons that can be learned. I'm fortunate. I get a lot of feedback from former players and things that I don't even remember saying to guys.
Right.
They remember, and later on they say kind of helped them with a decision or with a tough circumstances.
Right.
So I think as a coach, we're responsible to stand for what's right, to stand for being honest and having a great work ethic, being reliable.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes up a team.
Exactly.
So if you can teach the really good characteristics, they definitely carry over because you can't play basketball forever.
No.
And most of these guys are 99 point whatever are not going to play professionally.
No.
So they have to get their education, use their basketball experience. Build their friendships, have lifetime friends from their teammates, but move on to other things in life other than basketball.
Well, I think that's what it is people, they're young, they don't realize that they can't play basketball forever. It's what that's the serious thing here where that they can, what you just talked about, that's what you just said, it transfers to life. I mean, that's probably the most important thing you do. I'm trying to think, and then sometimes, what is the process? That's why I made somebody must tell you about a player. Sometimes maybe a player finds you. What is the coach at the JC level? What is the best recruiting strategy?
Well, we don't, because I'm at a school that doesn't have dormitories.
Right.
So we're really, pretty much have to recruit players that can get, between home and school.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've had a lot of success because, Pleasant Hill is centrally located. Oakland's not
Right.
it's not that hard.
Right.
Even Richmond, we've had players from West Contra Costa
Right,
County,
right.
and then Vallejo.
Yeah.
And then there's good local players in central Contra
Right,
Costa County.
right.
I think the biggest thing that I deal with the players that are maybe closer to DVC is, maybe recruiting a guy from Acalanes or a guy from Monte Vista. Sometimes it doesn't, look great all going to DVC.
Sure.
I think it takes a little bit more discipline and focus for those guys to know, hey, I'm going to Diablo Valley College for a purpose.
Right.
I want to become a better player, get my academics. But a lot of the, the players that we've had over the 24 years I've been here from Oakland or even, the West Contra Costa County or Vallejo or Sonoma County, they like coming to DVC.
Yeah.
And, so we go after talent.
Sure.
But there's no doubt that not just talent, but I look at their character.
Right.
I got to have guys that I can coach.
Yeah.
No one's perfect.
No.
I'm flawed. Everybody's flawed.
Right.
But they have to be coachable.
Yeah.
They have to have, a spirit of respect
Right,
for
right.
their teammates.
Yeah.
And they got to have some level of intelligence because, basketball is a thinking man's game.
Right.
They got to at least want to get their education.
Yeah.
So those are all factors
Yeah.
I look at.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you mentioned all this stuff. Good. Yeah, that's Tarkanian. Sometimes look past some of that stuff, I think.
It depends. I mean, there's no doubt that UNLV had a high level of talent.
Yeah.
But the thing is you look now, and you can go off on a whole tangent with the one and done, and how it is right now. People have to remember that, and this is really, a lot of people don't think about this. Baseball and hockey have their own minor league system.
Exactly.
So those players who play baseball and hockey, they can go right into the minors, and they can a lot of times get signed for bonuses right out of high school.
Right.
So you see a baseball pitcher signed for $200,000, and he's a hero.
Yeah.
And yet these major college basketball players and football players, there is no minor league really to speak of for the NBA except for major college.
Right.
In the football, there is no minor leagues.
Yeah.
So they're now the guy's making too many phone calls or he gets his lunch paid for.
Yeah.
He's a criminal.
Right.
Yet the baseball player just got signed for $300,000 and never stepped on a college campus.
Right, exactly.
So there's a little bit of a structural problem there.
A huge problem.
And I think that when you take a look at the teams like Tarkanian had, he would have 5 or 6 NBA players on the team.
Right.
And playing in the NBA is a legitimate occupation. It's a legitimate job.
Yeah.
They're paid well.
Yeah.
So I just think that it comes down to really, the resources that a college has, like Kentucky, like Calipari, like Syracuse, and on and on. The major college basketball and football programs are professional type operations in a small way.
Yeah.
Because they are in many ways serving as the minor leagues.
Well, I mean, this is a whole other topic, but that's the whole thing where the NFL loves the NCAA because it's free. They don't have to run their own minor league, and then with the rules set up where a good player has to be there 3 years. I mean, that's great. And then also the basketball, the same thing. You used to be able to go from high school, then they make it up, they say one and done. But these guys, I mean, it is a charade. I mean, the guys that go to Kentucky, go to Syracuse, I mean, they are going to class a little bit. But I mean, they're there to play basketball, but they have to be there. I mean, because they can't be in the NBA yet. I mean, I don't know. That's just
well, you did have some when players could come from high school.
Yeah.
You go back to Moses Malone. You go back to
Daryl Dawkins.
You can go to Daryl Dawkins, and then the O'Neal guy who's playing for the Warriors.
Right.
Jermaine O'Neal, and then Kobe, LeBron.
Right, but then there's also guys that didn't make it. I mean,
there's a lot of guys that try it and don't make it.
Exactly.
But in reality, their dream. Physically, these guys have been blessed.
Right.
They work on their craft of basketball.
Yeah.
They're tremendous athletes, and so they do want to have a chance to get paid, just like somebody who's an engineer or a great carpenter or any profession.
Right.
So I think that colleges are benefiting from it because of the great. I mean, you take a look at the salaries of the major college coaches. They're benefiting from it. The universities, the athletic directors, there's a tremendous ticket sales.
Right.
There's got to be something there, I think, to protect that athlete. Now look, Division I basketball has 320 teams.
Sure.
There's only 32 guys that get drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
The NBA is a small, tiny sliver.
Yeah, they don't
now,
realize that.
I do believe that you can tell who has a chance to be an NBA player
Yeah.
probably by the time that they're 16, 17, 18 years
Yeah.
old, because they are physically blessed and physically gifted already.
Right.
There are some players like the young man at Portland, Damian
Yeah, what was
Lillard,
his-
who was
he got better later.
Yeah, I mean, he went to Weber State, and he was a good player, and he stayed 4 years
Right.
at Weber State. You look at he's a tremendous player. He's
Right.
got great character. He's got great discipline.
Right.
I mean, I just love watching how he's developed.
Right, Rookie of the year.
Oh yeah,
and
this
yeah,
guy's
yeah.
this guy's. But even he,
He was
maybe
late-
maybe when he's 16,
Yeah.
you couldn't tell he was
No,
going to be
yeah.
because of his size.
Sure, yeah.
But he has matured into a great point
Right,
guard.
right.
So, but there are other guys. You can see LeBron when he was probably 14 years old.
Right.
You knew he was
right.
going to be a man
right.
child.
Well, no, that's the thing. We'll move on, but it's all about guidance. There's guys that are man-childs that could have been in the NBA, but made bad decisions, no grades. Yeah. I'm trying to think where I'm going with this. I'm trying to think if there's anything we should.
Well, no, I think you're right. I mean, and I think that I really respect LeBron James. He is mature. He stands for the right things.
Exactly.
He's a great role model
Right.
for young kids. You
Right.
don't always have to be, but he's chosen to be, and I think that he had good counsel.
Yeah.
But I definitely look at the NBA now, and I'm proud of basketball
Yeah.
because I think that the NBA, as a players' association, the coaches,
Yeah.
the general managers, obviously they've got an embarrassment going on with one of the owners, but that's
Right.
his problem.
Yeah.
And it is the NBA's problem
Right,
in a sense,
right.
but it'll be gone. But I am really impressed with the professionalism of the NBA and what they stand for.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think, maybe, is there anything you want to add? We can end with this Sports Illustrated, just staring at me. I'm trying to think. Hold that up, Steve.
Well, the deal with
Yeah,
the
go
kid
ahead.
from, well, no, I mean, I think that's the deal they had right from
with Larry Bird, yeah. So,
Larry Bird,
so here's Larry Bird in 1978, Indiana State, and then here's Doug McDermott with Creighton, another small school. Yeah, and this, I found it because I'm in your team room. I mean,
I give these guys some good things to read.
well,
but,
yeah, no, I'm trying to think. Anything you want to add before we wrap up, or?
Well, I think that I am been really fortunate to
Yeah.
be working where I am and at this level. I think that you can have a great impact as a community college coach, whether it's football, baseball, swimming, aquatics, whatever. But the community college is where most of us would fall into.
Right.
Most of us aren't blessed with great athleticism and maybe the grade level to get right into from high school into the major colleges. And I think that we've transferred a lot of players to Division I, but also Division II.
They play.
Division III, which is more of the student athlete, the non-scholarship, even NAI, but they're able to continue to get their education. And I think that community colleges in California are the greatest value bargain for education going, $46 a unit. And I think it is a real area in a time of maturing. Somebody from 18 to 21 years old doesn't know what they want. Their parents don't have to go spend $40,000 to have them go away to school and blow it and get bad grades.
Yeah.
They can prove themselves.
Right.
I think that it's a reflection of life where we all have a proving ground.
Right.
I think community college is a great proving ground.
And it will end up, I just could sum it up where, your success on the court with the team and then success off the court, the same thing with the players play well, but then they also, if they want to apply themselves, you go on to a four-year school, graduate, and become a better people. So, no, as I said, we got to do this again. I mean, it's been, I've seen you, but I mean, 30 years, 1985 to 2014, all again. Maybe if I keep talking about the giant chef burger, they might provide us with like a meal or something like that.
I think they should. We'll talk to Dean.
See that? We got a connection here, okay. Because young Matt, who helps me, he always wants me to feed him afterwards.
Oh, we should.
We should, and we will, and it'd be nice if we can feed him for free.
That's it.
Okay, Steve, I really appreciate it today.
Right,
You're a good man. Okay, thank you, and thanks for watching, and we'll find someone new to talk to next time. Have a good evening.